Boom.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Picked Off, the Gauntlet edition of NFL Week. What week are we in? 7
7.
or 8? Week 7?
7.
Okay, we're on week 7
Wait,
now.
is it?
We're in week
I
7.
No,
think
it's week
no, I
8.
think
I'm
we're
sorry, it's 8.
okay. We're week
It's
8.
8.
Oh, no, this is
Come on,
week
week
8 coming
I was
up.
gonna say the Eagles are 6-1, so that's 7 from my count. But
See, that's
Yeah,
why I
no,
gave
week 8.
7.
Okay,
We're going into week 8.
forget anything I just said. Week 8 picks. We're gonna go through all the games. JJ is gonna tell you guys his favorite prop bets and everything for the week, just like we do every single week. So starting it off with Thursday Night Football, we have the Buffalo Bills coming off the loss to the Patriots, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off the loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams losing to division rival that a lot of people kind of feel like they're considerably better than. So it was really interesting last week, but you know, I don't see the Bills losing this game. The Bills are like, what was it, 8.5 point favorites in this game. It's kind of crazy. So they really expect Buffalo to come out and set the tone and get the job done. So I think the Bills are going to respond well, and I think they should have a big win against Tampa this week on Thursday night.
Yeah, I've got the Bills on this one. I think they're going to be motivated by the fact that A, they really should not have lost last week, and B, if they lose this game, they are going. They're looking at being in a bit of trouble in
Big trouble.
the AFC East. You got Miami, and granted, Miami did lose last week, but what's up,
Who do
Baker?
they
What's
lose
going on,
to?
dude? They lost to them Kelly Green boys out there on Broad Street.
Oh, okay.
They sure did, and we will get to Miami in just a bit. But no, I got the Bills. I think Allen picks it back up.
Yeah.
Miami is still looking like the best team in that division for the time being. The Buccaneers, I really don't think that they will be so much in trouble with a loss because the NFC South is that bad. Like,
It truly is.
the Panthers are probably written off now, but the division is going to be between those other three teams, and so
Yeah.
I don't think that a Bucks loss is going to hurt them as bad as a Bills loss would them. So I'm going to take the Bills in this one, 28-17.
Before we go to JJ, I just want to throw this stat out there about the Panthers. Panthers most points scored in the NFC South. They are 0-6. JJ, Bills, Bucks, who wins and why?
Hey, you're muted.
Your sound is off.
Sorry about that. I actually got the Bills, even though I know it's not just because that they actually are going to bounce back from a loss. I just think they're a better team. And they are a better team with a better quarterback and a better set of weapons that the quarterback knows how to use at his full disposal. I think Baker has a good group of weapons, but he's still figuring them out. But I expect the Buffalo Bills to come through. On tickets, I am looking at, Stephon Diggs. If anyone has him in fantasy or anything, he's like a touchdown machine this year. And so if you see that prop, take that out. If number one with this team, it's always Stephon Diggs, but I also think a sleeper for this team to really help them win is James Cook at rushing. I think his rushing yards at 49 to 50.5 is a good bid because Tampa Bay does struggle against the run. And the Bills have shown the commitment to the run. But I got the Bills winning. I got them winning by, I can't remember what the spread was, but I think, I have
8.5.
Oh no, I've got the Bucks covering, but I got the Bills winning.
Okay.
Next game, Houston Texans against Carolina Panthers. Battle of the top two draft picks of the NFL draft from this year, from this draft class. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. Interesting matchup, interesting storyline. I'm going to keep it short and sweet for you. CJ Stroud has been on fire this season. 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. Over 7 yards of attempt. He's playing really out of his mind. He's the runaway favorite for the Rookie of the Year. I think against Carolina, it's going to continue. And I think the Texans come out with the win.
Yeah. Oh man, that actually shocked me that I took a look at while I was doing these these banners, and the Texans are favored by 3. I cannot honestly remember the last time the Texans were favored in a game. Panthers, they still got a lot to answer. I know they get Thielen back and everything this week, but I'm going to take the Texans in this one. Stroud's playing out of his mind. The running game could afford to get. We currently are in the bottom 5 in rushing in the league, but it's been made up because of Stroud's arm and that defense. Well, Anderson has been playing awesome. I'm loving the secondary as well. They should take advantage of Bryce Young's woes. But going away, I've got Texans 24-10. JJ, who you got?
Muted again.
Muted again. You know why? Because got it. I actually got the Texans, but I think this game is going to be very close because I actually think both of these quarterbacks are magnificent. I think their futures are bright. I think one may have a more structured and more well-rounded, motivator in terms of D'Amico Ryans, but I don't think anything. I think Bryce Young is doing well, and I think his connection to Thielen is great. I think with them, they just need to continue to realize that they got other weapons like Hayden Hurst, Terrence Marshall, others. But I think for this game, I actually have the Panthers covering because I think this is going to be a game where it's like a 1-point victory, where it's won by a field goal by the Houston Texans, because I think that Carolina's going to show them that they may be 0-16. I mean 0-6, but like you said, they've scored the most points in NFC South. Aside from Minnesota and Miami, I've seen them be pretty much in games for a little bit. And Houston's a team that's up and coming. And when you have an up and coming team, I think a team that's winless has a chance to possibly get their first win. But I think Texans got it. Props buys, I will say Adam Thielen, I'm not going to lie, I have taken him every week, and he has hit every single week. And I don't expect that to change with Bryce Young because Bryce Young loves Adam Thielen.
Quick question before we go to the next one. JJ, CJ Stroud, over under 2 touchdown passes.
I want to say push.
Okay.
I want to say push because I Damian Pierce has not given up what he needed to. He hasn't been, bringing it like he did last year, but I can see 2 touchdowns. 3 is a little different because I don't think this game is going to be past 21 points.
Okay. That's understandable.
Next game. Patriots at Dolphins. The Dolphins coming off the loss to the Eagles, and the Patriots big win against the Buffalo Bills. Very impressive win for the Patriots. The Dolphins are favored by 9.5. Tyreek Hill was listed on the injury report this week, so there's a chance that he is not going to play on Sunday. Look out for that. Jalen Waddle was also banged up a little bit, had a back injury, exited the game against Philadelphia, came back in the second half. So Miami a little bit banged up there. So when I'm looking at this spread, I'm saying that 9.5 is way too much. I think this is going to be a close game. Miami still wins in the end, but the New England Patriots coming off the win, feeling good about themselves. You're going against a division team that you know very well. This is a dangerous game for Miami, and Miami has to circle things back together and win this game. This is a very important win. You want to win games in your division. If they don't, they can start to let it slip away, and then Buffalo is going to pounce. So I got Miami in a close one.
It's crazy because for the last, 20-something years, usually was the other way around. Miami was usually good for, they could steal a game, a potential trap game for the Patriots. And now here it is, the roles are reversed. But, things are cyclic in sports history, and it is what it is. I'm taking Miami in this one. I think they're going to look at what the Bills did and not do that, basically. The Bills, they lost last week because they overlooked the Pats. The honest opinion, they overlooked them. I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. I think Tua goes out there and has a field day. I'm going to take – and you know what? I know they won and they're feeling good about themselves, but Mac Jones is still the New England Patriots quarterback. So until further notice, I've got Dolphins 31-10.
I don't know. That game-winning drive against Buffalo was pretty impressive. But, JJ, who you got?
So it's very interesting because I think there's a little pressure on me at Miami, and more than people want to, say because of just the loss they had to Philadelphia. They had the loss to Philadelphia that hangs on top of the loss to Buffalo Bills, which means that they are 5-2. And if you look at the AFC, That's a congested area you want to be in, and you could be looking at a potential to be a top 2 seed to possibly a 5 to 7 seed if you don't continue to win these games. So that's a little bit more pressure on them because teams like Baltimore, they're coming behind you. Pittsburgh at 4-2, when nobody is expected, they coming on. So there's a lot that's factor in Miami. Nonetheless, I think that they're going to eke this out, but I do think it's not going to be that spread. I do think the Patriots are going to come and have a good game plan because they surprised me against the Bills. Now, mind you, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs against them for the last couple seasons had been very successful. They look very pedestrian against this team, which showed me that Bill can still devise a game plan if needed. Now, it may be a little bit more challenging because of the speed, but I've got the Patriots to cover and I've got the Dolphins to win. Because the Patriots' goal is to take away your best target, I just don't know what to say about Tyreek Hill. I don't know.
Tyreek may not play this week. He's been listed on the injury report, so we don't even know if he's going to play.
Very interesting enough. That's crazy.
So we'll have to keep our eyes on that one. But next game, New York Giants taking on the New York Jets, battle of the Big Apple, if you will. So last week, actually, I even want to say the last couple weeks, the Giants have actually been looking better. Like, I know we were just talking about Buffalo and how they didn't take the Patriots seriously. Well, I don't think they took the Giants seriously either. In fact, I think they probably should have lost that game. The Giants are playing better. The Jets are playing better. So this is actually going to be an interesting game. But I think I'm going to have to go with the Jets because the Jets defense has actually been really good. They obviously 3 interceptions against Jalen Hurts, 3 interceptions against Josh Allen. Played a really good game against Patrick Mahomes as well. So that defense is really able to be effective. So I like what they're doing on that side of the ball. If Zach Wilson can play a decent game, then I think they can win this one. So I'm going to take the Jets.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people, mind you, the Jets win this game. They go to 4-3 with no Aaron Rodgers. I don't think anyone would expected that when Aaron Rodgers went down. I'm taking the Jets in this one. I agree the Giants are playing better, and they may or may not did get hosed in that Monday Night Football game at Buffalo. But yeah, the Giants do need the win more, but I'm going to take the Jets. Their defense is still lights out, and again, as long as Zach Wilson doesn't lose the game, limits the mistakes and everything, they got Breece Hall, they got Dalvin Cook, they got that rushing attack. Open up the play action for Garrett Wilson. Just play your game. And then that'll be it. On the other side of things, though, Tyrod Taylor has not been looking terrible neither. So, I mean, it could go either way. I'm going to take the Jets. I don't expect it to be high scoring. I'm going to take the Jets 20-17. And, yeah, Giants cover. Go ahead, JJ.
You got the Jets against the Giants, the battle for freaking New York, so to speak. But I'm going to take the Giants. I actually like what they're starting to figure out with Tyrod. I think that with Tyrod, they get a chance to have more continuity with their passing. And I think that he doesn't just focus on their best option. He spreads it around. Like the game against Buffalo, Wan'Dale Robinson was the guy that he was going for. This game, he started using Darren Waller. I will say that it's going to be interesting because one thing that I do know that Zach Wilson has an issue with is blitzes and covering your blitz schemes and how to counteract that and how to, recognize real quick. So I'm curious to see if he's going to elevate his play because, the Giants, they like to rush the passer. They like to blitz. And they will blitz you because one thing Wink does is Wink will blitz you until you make him not blitz you. And so if he blitzes him and starts getting off, I can see that snowballing into a rough day. Now, with that said, I have the Giants winning, but I will say prop-wise, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, I think those are going to be the weapons that get off. Their rushing yards and receiving yards are pretty manageable, and they're so explosive. Other than that, I don't really got much going on with that.
Okay. All right. So Jaguars taking on the Steelers. Steelers won last week against the Rams. Very good win for them, by the way, in Jacksonville. So I think this is an interesting game. I think that Pittsburgh's actually playing better than people expected them to. How many people really had the Steelers at 4-2 this point in the season? I didn't. I can only speak for myself, but I think that the Steelers are going to come a little bit back to earth this week. Trevor Lawrence and the boys, I think it's going to be too much, and I think they're going to take care of business in this one. I got the Jags.
All right. Another game that ended in controversial fashion just last week because the referees kind of gave Pickett a generous spot, and then you had was it a PI or not a PI on the Rams DB? So, but even still, it was a great win for the Steelers, and I'm going to take the Steelers in this one also. I'm looking at how last week the Jaguars, they were up 2 scores on the Saints, and then in the fourth quarter, they let the Saints back in it. Now, they did have a late touchdown to put the game away, and man, God bless Moreau. He had a wide open game-tying touchdown pass that he dropped, and I've got a Steelers as a better team than the Saints. But I think the Steelers pull off the shocker here. I'm going to say 23-17 Steelers. JJ?
I'm gonna go with the Jaguars here because I think the Jaguars are playing really well right now, and I think they're starting to come together with some continuity in their offense. Their rust is starting to fade. Pittsburgh does look different, and I think one thing you have to say, as much as people want to, and he does, and the criticisms and the calling for his head are justified to a degree. But one thing with Tomlin is that his teams will be well coached. They will be able to be in games, and they will be in games that many think that they probably should get blown out of. Now, history has shown Jacksonville is not the team that Pittsburgh can get off on. But I think it's going to be a pretty good game. But I got Jacksonville winning this one. I will say I think Travis Etienne is a play because Pittsburgh cannot stop the run. They do not know how. They have a hard time defending the run well, which is ironic given the fact that Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt are astute edge setters. But things have changed with Cam Hayward not in the game and not being in the middle of the defensive line. But so Etienne is a guy that I have a few high props on.
Oh, my bad.
Next game.
Got Pastor Tyler in the house.
Oh, what's up, Tyler? Thank you. By the way, I want to say hello, Grizz and Princess Gamer and all our viewers that have been watching tonight. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. And as we move on to our next game, and Wyatt, of course. So Wyatt is in the house, and the Falcons versus the Titans. So the Falcons won last week against Tampa, and the Titans are kind of starting to get into blow it up mode. They traded safety Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles this week, and talks are, from what I'm hearing, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, guys like this is also on the block. Will Levis to get his first start this week with Ryan Tannehill injured. So that's a big thing. But I think this is a winnable game for Tennessee. I want to see if they're going to be able to get things going on the ground with Derrick Henry. Obviously, if they are able to, then that changes a lot of things for them. But I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what Levis is going to do in his first start. This is his time to showcase that maybe he could be a piece for Tennessee to build around long term. But these two teams are just not too competitive. So I think it's going to be a low scoring game. But I'm gonna go with the Titans with this one.
Okay. So, the Falcons actually have a pretty stout run defense. And I don't know what's going to happen with Bijan. That whole late report about him feeling ill kind of gave us all an ill feeling about how they run things over there, But even still, they got Tyler Algier, I have him on one of my squads in fantasy, and he actually, gave me about probably a 10 point, something like that, And not to mention he was 1,000-yard back last year. He's in his second year. Oh, yeah, as far as the last one. Oh, Lone wolf, baby. But
Tyler said he's throwing the challenge flag on you.
I just did it.
The play has been reversed. Go ahead.
So, but the Tennessee Titans, they are in blow it up mode. I think Vrabel is already on the hot seat. They're soliciting offers for Hopkins and Derrick Henry and who knows what else. And I didn't know that they hired their old GM back because of that Kevin Byard deal that went down. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, all that being said, and who knows how Will Levis is going to turn out. But I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. The Falcons are they're 4-3 currently, number one in their division, just coming off a win from the Bucks. And this is it's a winnable game for the Titans. The Titans very well could stun them, but I'm going to take the Falcons. I know some people still have questions about Ritter at quarterback, but as long as he, pretty much what he's done all year to this point, just make his plays, rush when he needs to, use his feet at the last minute, and limit the mistakes. I got Falcons in this one. It's going to be close. I'm going to say Falcons 26-20. JJ?
All right. So, couple things. And I'll be real quick. When it comes to a team with a top run defense, I'm always curious to see who they played. Because a lot of the run defense can be a little skewed. I'll give you an example. This past weekend with Detroit against Baltimore, they were a top 5, top 7 run defense, and we ran the ball with ease on them. And I think with a team that has a running game and that commits to their running game the way that they, in order to be successful, like this team, I can see this game being close, and then that running game takes off for Tennessee to win this game in the second half by wearing the team down. I think Atlanta has talent. I think Atlanta's finding out that they aren't as horrible as they believe, but I also think that Tennessee is a strong enough team that they can get this victory. So I've got the Titans to win this game. Of course it is, Tyler, because shout out to the thing that what it is, but you already know. But I think that the Titans are going to get this game. I think that, Derrick Henry, they're going to continue to commit to the run game. And then they got this young kid out there who can catch the ball out the backfield, Spears. If I'm saying it wrong, let me know. I still don't know what to think about Atlanta. I think they have talent, but I think they also have a little bit of turmoil because I think that Bijan thing, there's a lot of reports that came out about that. There's a lot of things that's going on, adding on to the fact that they're trying to get Kyle Pitts involved and not him happy. Just a lot of emotions going on. And I think that this is going to be a game where they may make some mistakes that Tennessee's going to capitalize, and it's going to come by way of Derrick Henry on a big touchdown for over 20 yards.
All right. Well, looks like our lone wolf on this one again, back to back. So this was for you, Pastor Ingram. Oh!
Not Pastor Ingram. Yes,
Pastor
Ingram.
So that's a lone wolf?
Yeah, because you had Titans and he had Titans. I had the Falcons.
Oh, I thought JJ picked the Falcons. Well, never mind.
I picked the Falcons.
Never mind. Okay, so Rams versus Cowboys. The Rams came off a loss, and now the Cowboys coming off the bye. I think the Rams win this one, guys. Cowboys going to be rusty coming off that bye, and then it's about to start to get real dangerous over there this point of the season for the Cowboys, because after this week, where are they going? Philadelphia on the road. Huge game in the division. I think this is going to be the part of the season when we start to see the Cowboys show signs that they're unraveling, and then they're going to play a couple of games against some lesser opponents and pick themselves back up. And then when it comes to the end of the season, they're going to totally fall apart. This is the beginning of the end for the Cowboys. Rams by 10.
Oh, man. Okay. Oh, man. I'm going to take the Rams.
He got them covering and then some.
And then some, yeah.
All the way up.
Hey, you know what?
All the way up.
I would say that that's wishful thinking, but we all know what the Cowboys are. They're the most unpredictable team in the NFL, and I could see them losing this game. I don't, their defense is still outstanding. Don't get me wrong, but it's really about to be put to the test once you have to face Cooper Kupp and Pookie Nakua. You know, but I'll take the Rams in this one. And not only that, but Stafford has got some wins under his belt against the Cowboys. I'm going to take Rams 30-24.
So is Dallas defense really that good? Because the times that
Nope.
they faced pretty good offenses, they got ran out the door. And I just think that I think this is showing how important a guy that they once criticized playing the cornerback position really is to this team. Because the defense started getting shredded a little bit since Trayvon Diggs came out and for the season. So I'm not ready to say that they're outstanding. I
Good
think they
point.
have talent and I think they're very good. But what she just said is why
Yep.
I think the Cowboys will lose.
Because
I
they
think
did it last year, remember?
exactly.
Cowboys
They
are
did it
focused on
last
the
They
year.
looked ahead to the Eagles, and they lost to Jacksonville in overtime.
Exactly. And I think this is where I want to see if you grow. Because if you do the same thing, if you do something once and it doesn't work out for you, the next time it comes around again, you're supposed to do the opposite. And I'm not gonna say my example, so we'll go on to something else. But what I will say is I don't trust Dallas to correct their mistakes. And I think the Rams have enough talent on that team to take it to them. And I think that Stephon Gilmore can't cover Puka and Cooper. He can't cover them both. He's got to pick one. And with Stafford, when you go with one, he'll go to the other. You go to the other one, you go to that one. But I definitely think they're looking ahead, and I hope that they're not. But I think that the Rams are going to get this one. I got the Rams to cover easily. I will say, if I'm looking at props, I will look at the wide receivers Puka and Cooper because I think Stephon, they're going to use a lot of different ways to get him on the wrong matchup and put the right person they want onto the other corner, who I think is Bland has played decent, but the last couple of weeks he's kind of been torched.
Tyler is lone wolfing. He's saying he's going with
He's saying
Dallas.
Dallas.
So
Hey, JJ.
Tyler with the lone wolf. I like
hey,
that.
JJ. Over under Dak Prescott 2 touchdown passes.
I'm going under.
Ooh.
I'm going under because I think they'll do a lot of movement between the 20s, but I think it tightens up in that red zone. And then one thing Dak has shown to have issues with is if your pass rush can get to you in that red zone, a lot of times you're going to struggle. Plus, I think if they get into the red zone, they may want to run the football with Tony Pollard.
Okay. That's fair.
All right. You guys ready for the next game?
Yeah.
JJ, you don't like this one.
Good old. Oh, let's give him a congratulations because he won this past Monday against a very good San Francisco squad. And you got the Minnesota Kirk Cousins coming in to face Jordan Love and the Packers, and Jordan suffered a tough loss to the Denver Broncos this past week. And if you know how they lost, they were driving, and then he completed that one fateful interception. But you have the Vikings who are riding high. They beat arguably the top team in the Eastern NFC. But I'm already in basketball mode. # let's reel it back. Anyway, but I'll turn it to you guys. James, who do you have?
Take everything. Take all your money, your house, everything you own, and bet everything on the Green Bay Packers. I'm putting the cheese on my head. This is my lock of the week. Green Bay Packers beating the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins cannot be trusted, especially coming off from a game. Not only Kirk Cousins, but the Minnesota franchise. If you look in history, what this franchise does, anytime they have like a huge win, a huge performance, even in the NFC Championship or the divisional round, the Minnesota Miracle, Minnesota's the team of destiny. And what happened next week? 38-7 against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Throttled.
This team had a huge win against San Francisco, but they are going to stink it up. Packers lock. I'm going with Green Bay.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to go ahead and take the Pack on this one also. What happened to Kirk Cousins?
Kurt
Cousins, Chain Cousins, pretty much happens.
Third cousin from your mother cousin?
Yeah, yeah. What happened to him on Sunday is like leap year. All right, every 4 years, maybe not even that. He wins on prime time. Great performance. But here's where they come back down
Without
to earth.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but no, they're about the pack defense is going to expose that this coming weekend.
I don't know.
I,
Jordan Addison may not be a bad piece.
no, he's not. He
No,
isn't
he's
at
a good
all.
receiver, but I'm just saying, like, without Jefferson, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, and and,
Packers
and
winning
against
though.
the 49ers at that. But yeah, I'm going to take the pack in this one. I think Jordan Love rebounds from the loss at Denver last week. And I've got the pack in this one. Let's see. I'll go 27-17.
Oh, because I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think
Really?
I'm
No,
going with the
JJ,
Minnesota
don't do it.
Vikings.
Really?
Uh-huh. And the main reason why is because whenever I know Brian Flores' defensive scheme is undoubtedly about blitzing, and I don't know how Jordan Love is going to handle that yet. I don't. When I look at the teams that they faced, I don't think anybody blitzes as much as Brian Flores is coming. So till I see it myself, I do know what I can possibly get out of Kirk Cousins, and that unknown factor is what's holding me off. And I will say, Jordan Addison, they very well could have two number one receivers if this guy continues to pace with Kirk Cousins, because he is taking off. What he did against a San Francisco defense that still has their secondary back there was something special. But I do think that it's going to be a good game. It's probably going to be a close game. But I've got the Vikings winning this one. I think Kirk Cousins is going to get his second victory in a row.
Tyler. All right, next game.
He said he's not. JJ can't save him in the football game, so I'm not listening to JJ speak. Ooh, shots fired. Shots
Brutal.
fired.
Who said that?
Tyler. He's preaching the sermon on you, bro. He said, why you got to pick those purple freaks for?
Oh, hush, hush, hush.
All right, next game. What's the next game?
What is our next game?
Saints versus the Indianapolis Colts. I want to start off by saying the New Orleans Saints are such a waste of talent. Like, if you look on their team, they have a lot of great players on both sides of the ball. You have Chris Olave, who's a really good receiver. You obviously have Alvin Kamara, who's been one of the best, most consistent running backs in the league since he's been in the league. Have a pretty good defense. Guys like DeMario, they got good players over there, but they don't win. So I think when this season is over, Dennis Allen has to go. He has to be replaced. He cannot coach at this level. He needs to be a coordinator. That's where he's best suited at. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Indianapolis Colts. They lost a heartbreaking game to the Cleveland Browns. They had it right there. They looked like they had Cleveland on the ropes, but Cleveland came back at the last second and won the game. I think Indianapolis gets a win this week.
One reason why I got the Colts, and that is the Saints' red zone woes. These guys get to within the 20-yard line with goal to go, and they cannot cash in for jack. Now, it's not going to be a runaway. The Saints still have a formidable defense. They still have Kamara, and Derek Carr's still a decent quarterback. But Minshew is a hustler. He probably is the best, one of the best backups in the league right now. Okay, but I got the Colts. Not only that, but the Colts can be unpredictable because just when you think that they're going to drop a game, they turn right around and shock you. They've just always been that kind of team. I'm going to take the Colts in this one. It'll be close. I'm going to say Colts 28-24. JJ, who you got?
So I'm going to start this by saying Chris Olave probably had a week that he wanted to forget. Not just from the game, but what happened after the game on Monday night. So I know that I'm curious to see his resolve and how he's going to be effective with this team. If anybody doesn't know, Chris Olave was pulled over for reckless driving 35 miles over the speed limit. And then to make it worse, he tried to name drop his employer, and the cop just roasted him and was like, I don't care that you play for the Saints. So he's been taking a lot of heat on social media. And from what I've seen against this most recent game, he can get in his head when things are going against him and going against his way.
Mhm.
And adding that, I know how much social media means to these kids and this everything. So I'm curious to see if he doesn't bring it for them. I don't have the Saints have a chance to win. I still have the Colts winning, but I thought that if I'm very curious to see how this team is going to respond because of that wrinkle I just showed you. Now, in terms of the props, Kamara is pretty much the safe bet. I would have said Michael Pittman, but in the last couple of weeks, they've been up and down with him. He's been a
And he's
primary
watching
target some
balls.
games, sometimes he's not. But I think Kamara, because Kamara is, in my opinion, the best weapon that the Saints have, and the one that actually gives you a chance to be most productive because he can get the ball at the backfield. He can catch out the flat much easier than trying to throw like a 15-yard dig to somebody that may not be checked into the game. But I got the Colts winning this one because the Colts fight. They fight. They are, you know, given the city that they came from, they developed that toughness.
Yeah. All right. So
What's next?
Next game.
Oh,
Eagles
James.
Commanders.
Okay. Let's get something straight. Whatever happened in the last game is not going to be what's going to happen in this game. I can tell you right now. The Eagles are not going to play around with the Commanders like last time. Last time, they kept screwing around and let them hang around and over time, and they get the win in overtime. That's not going to happen this week. The Eagles are going to come out, and they're going to get the business. The Eagles are so close right now to getting to where they're supposed to be. Last week against the Dolphins was their best performance of the season. But there's still a lot of improvement. Jalen Hurts, 2 turnovers in that game. If the Eagles eliminate the turnovers, they will open it up on somebody. I'm telling you right now. Eagles by double digits. This is going to be the time of the season that the Eagles start getting it together and being like, okay, we were struggling. We were trying to figure it out. We lost to the Jets, but now we coming. Eagles by double digits.
Who was it that? Hey, who fed the Eagles their first loss last season? It was the Commanders. Now, here's the deal, and this is not me saying the Commanders are going to win this game. I got the Eagles. But my point is this. Seemingly after they suffer that first loss is when they like take off. And they don't look ahead to anybody. You know, last season it was the Commanders, and then boom, they just started chopping up teams, you know? And then even when they had that close one last season when they needed that game-winning drive to beat the Colts, you know? But I'm going to take the Eagles in this one. Sam Howell, I think currently is he currently? I think he's the most sacked quarterback in the league, and there's something going on with his
He
mechanics.
is.
He's holding the ball too
He
long.
is.
Yes, he's the most sacked quarterback in the league. Something with his mechanics holding the ball too long. I don't know, but you can't get to your receivers when you're flat on your ass. Okay, Eagles, man, the Eagles might hang 30 on them. I'm gonna say 30-17.
So I think we're all in agreement here on the Eagles, but we'll say this, adding to what James had said earlier. They won that second game against Washington by 14 or 15 points. And it was at the end of the season or so. So it's not, they know how to correct their mistakes from the teams that given them hard times before. And it's what I forgot which show I was watching the other day. And it was the analyst when they were like, they're always paying attention to a team, how they respond after like woes or against a team that they lost before. And Philly responds well. Washington is the horrible offensive line. Sam Howell, Jay and Nelson already pointed, is the most sacked quarterback in the game. And you have a defense that is top 5 in sacks given. Now, I do think that it's not going to be close because I think Philadelphia is revving up. I think Philadelphia is coming into form. I think that they have seen that San Francisco is kind of slowing down after a loss, and then now They like, no, we're not going to be that. We are going to be the team that believes that we could get back to where we wanted to get back to, and we were only a couple plays away from winning. It's time to rev up now. I don't think they're going to be peaking, but I think they're going to win. On sports bets, let me tell you something right now. My favorite prop is A.J. Brown receiving yards. Okay? My favorite prop is A.J. Brown fantasy score. My favorite prop is A.J. Brown touchdown. My favorite prop is A.J. Brown receptions, because anything that man has touched in the last 5 games has won. A.J. has won me some money, people. He has won some money. If it's his prop has went from 82.5 yards receiving to now 90.5 yards receiving, and he's had over 100 yards in the last 5 or 6 games. Mm-hmm. Washington sucks in the secondary. If they can't rush the passer, you're not going to do anything with that team. And that offensive line for Philly is big enough. So I think A.J. Brown's props, Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown prop, because he's got one every single game. I think that, this is the game that Philadelphia just is a high offensive shootout, and I will go less. He went over last time because he got to overtime against Philadelphia, but I would go less on rushing and passing and rushing yards for Sam Howell. If they didn't go to overtime, Sam would have not hit that last game. So that lets me know Philly does enough to contain it within the 40 minutes of a game.
Here's the other prop bet that people should be doing. I don't know what it is, but sacks of Hassan Reddick. Pick Hassan Reddick
They don't even have
the
them.
Over, because Hassan has been taking over games for the Eagles.
Bro, let me stop you real quick. They don't even have that prop because they know when somebody's a given, they will take them off. Trust and believe. When this game popped up and I saw who they were facing, I immediately went to sacks like, okay, who's on the Philadelphia sack line that I could take right here? They ain't had nobody. I was like, so y'all slick, because y'all know I'm about to pound everybody.
They know it's a lot. They know it's guaranteed.
Jalen Carter, over. Josh Sweat, over. Hassan Reddick, over. Over.
Yeah.
Everybody over. But anyway, we talk about the Eagles another time. Let's go to the next game. I can talk about the Eagles all night.
Okay.
Oh, man, I like this game. So I don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Like, it feels like Deshaun Watson is injured every week. And then he comes back, and then he's injured. So I don't know, man. Like, how great is this Cleveland Browns defense? Because one week they completely destroy the San Francisco 49ers. The next week, they give up 38 points to the Colts. Like, I don't know what's going on over there, but I need to see the Cleveland Browns defense be the other Cleveland Browns defense that we saw before, because if not, I don't really trust PJ Walker in this situation. So that's what it comes down to me. The quarterback matchup. The Seahawks were close against the Cincinnati Bengals. If they just made a couple of plays, they could have won that game as well. So I'm going to take Seattle here. I think Seattle gets a good win at home.
A prop bet that they took off the board, since we're talking prop bets and pass rushes, Myles Garrett. I guarantee you he's not on there.
Myles Garrett is incredible.
Yeah. He should be a DPOY candidate.
He is.
With this, I've got the Hawks in a close one.
Let me check.
Man, as bad as I want to pick the Browns, because I'm such a defense dude, and I'm a big believer in the better defense wins, but it's gonna come back. It's gonna come down to the quarterback. So if you look at the Niners game, right? So people would say, "Oh, well, Brock Purdy got exposed." Okay, then you look at the Colts game. Okay, well, he went up against Gardner Minshew. Had it close against them too. I've got Geno. Ooh, man. I just don't see I don't foresee the Seahawks. Like you said, James, I don't see them falling to the Browns the way that they did to the Bengals, because they came so close. I've got the Hawks in this one, but I do have it close because of that defense. So I'm going to say 24-17. No, I'm going to say 24-20 Hawks. 24-20 Hawks.
JJ, not to cut you off, but I'm just going to interject this real quick. I just checked the odds tracker for Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons is a slight favorite over TJ Watt, who's in second at plus 210, and then Myles Garrett plus 230. Parsons a slight favorite at plus 190. I don't know if I agree with that, because I like TJ's odds, or definitely Myles Garrett's odds as the season goes on. in my
But
opinion.
one thing we have to realize, I think that kind of factors into these odds is exposure. So what happened that probably put Micah above is that he had that game-ending sack against the Los Angeles Chargers that game-changing sack that ultimately caused the game to pretty much be out of reach. And I know voters kind of do that and put players on the top pedestal. And I think with Dallas by default, they want that to happen. Now, what I will say about this Browns Seahawks game is that we have a game that features two quarterbacks whose fortunes are switching before our very eyes. And they were opposite when they first came into the league. Watson and Smith came in the league as both first round picks, and one was hyped as the next coming of the greatest black quarterback or greatest quarterback of his generation. And the other one was considered good, but may need to ride the bench. And for a long time of his career, he was. And then the other one, Deshaun, was doing great, rising up. They remember that game against the Chiefs where he did get up 24-0, but Houston had lost the game. And then now what's happening? The last 2 years, Geno has risen and Deshaun has fallen. And so it's interesting that that's the dynamic that I see in this game. With that said, I am going to sadly take my rival in this game.
I knew it. He gonna take the Browns.
Because
Why?
because one thing I can say, and I've seen it with Geno though, is this year is that he has struggled when they have gotten to the quarterback a few times. And he lost to the Rams because of Aaron Donald and that pressure. So you adding that with Myles Garrett and that defense that is super physical, that defense is strong. And if you could contain Kenneth Walker, you give yourself a better chance of beating this team. They can stop the run. It depends on what happens with that, but I think ultimately Cleveland, in my opinion, roster-wise, even with Deshaun's ineptitude, is still a better team than the Seattle Seahawks, even though I think Seattle is decent. So I got the
Man, he really, yeah, we definitely gonna see about that. But I think it's gonna be a better game than people think. But yeah, I got JJ down, Lone Wolf, Browns over Hawks. You heard it here first.
Next game. Ravens versus the Cardinals. JJ, you start us off.
All right. So the Ravens put themselves on the map to everybody with a thrashing of what a lot of people were considering the best team in football, or let alone the NFC. So we have the Ravens coming in as heavy favorites against the Arizona Cardinals, who have been competitive, but they have not been a team that you would think could win some of these games. And this looks like a resounding Ravens decisive victory. So I'm going to turn it to you guys before I give my pick. Denzel, J. Nelson, do you have Arizona winning, or do you got the Ravens covering? Not winning, but covering too.
I've got the Ravens. I don't think it's gonna be as close because you just said it. They demolished the Lions last week, who was tied with the league's best record. Now, granted, I get it. Okay, like the Cardinals beat the Cowboys, but we know what the Cowboys are. You know what I mean? The Ravens. People have been saying for years that a fully healthy Ravens team is the best team in that division. You know, and so with that being said, yeah, I got to take Baltimore. I don't know who Baltimore's got after this game. This might be a tune-up game for whoever their next opponent is. But I don't know. You might know. Who do they have after the Cards? Do you know?
I actually hadn't been. I've been focusing on 1 week at a time.
Okay,
Seahawks.
then.
Tell you.
There you go. See, this may be a tune-up game for the Seahawks. And we'll talk about that next week because that may be a potential shocker. But for right now, I got Ravens. Cards will cover. No, Cards won't cover. I got Ravens by 10.
James Tatum.
Okay, I think this game is. I think the Cardinals are going to cover the spread. First of all, I don't think the Ravens are going to win by 3 scores like they did. Obviously, a huge win for them again.
5 scores.
Whatever, however many scores. I know that the Ravens are a really good team, but they've had some close games too. I mean, look at that game against Pittsburgh. That was a division game. They didn't play very well at all. The Titans game, Titans kind of hung around a little bit. I think the Cardinals can hang around for a little bit, but in the end, there's going to be a knockout punch by the Ravens in the fourth quarter. So I think the Ravens win 24-17.
So, excuse me. Bacon made a great point, but it's also something I'm wondering about my team. We just finished speaking about how Philly, whenever they have a mistake, they correct it and they just go for it and don't look back. That's something that my team has not done and that everybody expected to do since the MVP season, where once we got that win against the Patriots, we just kind of took off. I do want to know if this team is serious about what they say, because I'm hearing all the right things. I'm hearing the laser focus. We are playing in Arizona in a dome, so the conditions should be favorable for you not to drop any passes. I think my team is going to win, and I think my team is going to cover because I believe in my defense, and I believe in my defense and being able to really make good or backup to second-string quarterbacks have some mistakes. Baltimore should be undefeated. In my opinion, they should be undefeated if we look at the games and look at the reason why they lost. Last week against that team showed me that this team has potential to run through everybody. But it's all about consistency. And I think now that Lamar got his contract and he's so excited for showing up and showing for this team, I think Baltimore's going to win this. And I got Baltimore winning by 2 scores. I got them winning 28-14. Props wise, and I've been saying this for a few on my own sports bets. Lamar Jackson's passing yards go over at 228. Mark Andrews at 58 receiving yards go over. Zay Flowers at 60.5. I might take that over. Odell Beckham at anything between 20 and 30. I'm taking that over just because the team is spreading the ball around so well. But I got the Ravens winning and covering.
All right. Boom.
Guys, the Chiefs have won 16 straight games against the Denver Broncos, and Patrick Mahomes is 11-0. It's pretty much the exact same thing I said the last time, a couple weeks ago when we had this game. Mahomes owns the Broncos. The Broncos are a terrible team. Russell Wilson does not have the juice anymore. He does not have any gas. Sean Payton, overrated coach. Team is overrated. You got Jerry Jeudy, talking crap to Steve Smith, disrespecting him for no reason at all. The Broncos are just a circus. They're a mess. They're a joke. And I think they're going to continue to get destroyed by Kansas City. So Chiefs easily. And that's it.
There's just so much right with the Chiefs and so much wrong with the Broncos. And if the worst problem on your team or concerning your team is Taylor Swift, you're still a favorite to go back to the big game. They're not the Broncos. They're not going to cover or nothing like that. I know it was semi-close. They weren't even close it. I watched the game. The Chiefs only put up 19. I think they walked through that game. No, this time Mahomes lights them up. Man, 30-10. Chiefs. JJ?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry, I was,
You got Chiefs or Broncos?
I got the Chiefs because I think that offense is starting to come together. I think Kelsey is doing a great job of, exploiting. And I'll be honest with you, show Taylor Swift at the game because every time you do, Travis goes off and wins me some money. So Taylor Swift, I'm a Swiftie for you this season. Come to the games because if I know you at the games, I'm taking Travis Kelce props.
She wears short skirts. I wear T-shirts.
I was just listening to the song "Me" from her. I was just listening to that song. But I know in all actuality, the Chiefs are 6-1. They are literally 6-1. A team that got beat on the Lions and was questioned about are they the same because of how they lost to whatchamacallit, because they lost to
Jared Goff.
they almost lost. They lost Jared Goff and almost lost to the Jets. Here they are 6-1 and looking pretty good.
JJ Smith. Okay,
Sidebar.
so next game. Oh, yes, baby. This is going to be a great game. 49ers looking to avoid their third straight loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's what I have to say about this game. And I was saying this about the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase is the X factor. Jamar Chase is a guy that you take in the top 5 in NFL draft. Has that relationship, has that connection with Joe Burrow. As a rookie, he came into the league and he was like second or third as a rookie in receiving touchdowns. And this season, he has to come out and demand the ball and, make comments about, I'm always open and stuff. Well, yeah, he's open.
7-11.
So I don't understand why the Bengals are not getting him the ball enough. He's your best player. So I think the key to this game, you saw what Jordan Addison was able to do. Get the ball to Jamar Chase. Because I question, can the 49ers DBs hang with Jamar? And if Joe is at his best and Jamar is at his best, the answer is no. I'm taking the Bengals, and the 49ers lose 3 in a row.
You know what? Even and I'm seeing the comments here. Wyatt, Bacon, and Princess. They're all saying that Purdy may not play this Sunday, even if he was playing. Yeah, he's in concussion protocol. Even if he was playing, I'm taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals in this one. Things happen in threes, and I've got, when Joe and Jamar are on their gangster-ish,
Joe Shiesty.
It's very few teams that can see them.
Joe Burrow.
Bengals 31, Niners 17.
I got the Bengals winning this one as well. I do think that San Francisco, their offense has their woes, but their offense is not the one that concerns me. I was very taken back by what their defense has been giving up to people like Kirk Cousins on primetime, where you thought after an interception that it was just going to snowball downhill.
Oh, yeah.
They're not stopping people the way they were used to in the beginning of the season. And you're going against an offense that has been struggling, but there's no way you're going to look at that team with the weaponry and think that that's going to be status quo for the rest of the season. That team is figuring it out. There are only a few teams, like you guys said, that have the chance to compete with the Bengals, one of them in their division, but other people out there, yes, like Philly and San Francisco. But I think Burrow and them are going to be too much. Having Kirk Cousins and Jordan Addison beat you out the park on the passing attack, and now you got to face Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase with T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, all of them. It's just going to be interesting with them because they could go from being the, without a doubt, top team in the NFL to a 3 straight losses. 3 straight losses.
Now it's panic mode.
It might be because as they're losing, the one team that has been in their way that stopped them last year is getting better. It's like I have the Bengals winning. I got Jamar Chase receiving yards in my joint. I will say I got George Kittle receiving yards, and I have Christian McCaffrey receiving yards because those are Purdy security blankets when he's in trouble.
Upcoming stretch for the San Francisco 49ers. Next 4 games. Cincinnati Bengals at home, on the road at Jacksonville, Buccaneers at home, and Seattle on the road. And then the week after that at Philadelphia. So, yeah, the 49ers have a small margin for error.
It's about to get real.
I will say that. Next game, however.
Got 2 more games.
Early sports morning of the week. How the hell do you have the Bears and the Chargers as a primetime game? I want to let the world know that I will be going to bed early. I will not be staying up for this. But if I had to pick somebody, I'm picking the Chargers. The Chargers are always that team that you look at them and say, Justin Herbert, this team has a lot of talent. They got a lot of fast cars, speedboats, but it's all fake. It's all fabricated at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, the Bears are the Bears. So I got to take the Chargers.
You know what? This is where I'm real mad at the NFL. It's one thing, okay, the Raiders got 2 primetime games. Okay, it is what it is. And we're going to talk about them on our last segment. But the Bears got 2 primetime games this year so far before midseason. The Texans have none all year. The only team in the league without a primetime game, but the Bears get 2. I need somebody from that office to explain something because
I'd rather watch the Texans.
This is what happens when I don't know who's got like a flask in their file drawer and they've been hitting it a little too hard. Who thought Bears Chargers who thought it was a good idea? Tyler Bagent, what's his name? Tyson Bagent. He's gonna start for the Bears. Last week he did what he had to do. He beat the Raiders. Cool, But on to the game itself, I got the Chargers in a runaway. I got Herbert hanging about 30. I'm going to say 35-14 Chargers. Go ahead, JJ.
Now, let's remember, the schedule was made long before where we are now. And when the schedule was made, it was also during people's factoring of what teams they think are going to rise to, prominence. And there was a lot of revving up about the Chicago Bears. I, myself included, thought they were going to possibly win the division. So I can understand why this matchup became a Sunday night deal, because they wanted to put a chance to see if Justin Fields on whole display. I'm going to watch the game, of course, because I'm probably got some props on the joint too. But I do think that I'm interested. I think the Chargers are going to win this game, but I got the Bears covering because I have some questions about the Chargers. It's the same old type of questions. For a team that everyone on this panel right now and one that's not here has deemed the phrase Charger going Charger. The essence of being Charger going Charger means having teams that should lose to you, beat you, or be in games with you. So with that being said, I got the Bears covering, but I got the Chargers winning. I have receiving yards for Keenan Allen all day. And that's pretty much it. Actually, no, receiving yards for Joshua Palmer too. Those are my 2 guys.
All right. And then
next game.
Let's see. Last game, Monday Night Football.
Raiders versus the Lions. Let's keep this to the point.
Yeah.
The Lions were absolutely destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens. And it's going to be the reverse of that against the Las Vegas Raiders. I want to just say this about the Raiders, and this has actually been on my mind. I'm so sad to see what's happened with the Raiders team. The Raiders was once one of the great franchises in the NFL, and they have completely plummeted into something that's a joke. And a thing that's even made it worse, not only they're like with their success, but their fans. Like the Raiders do not have the intimidating home field advantage like they used to have, because they don't have like all the Raiders fans are not in Las Vegas. Where are they? They're in Oakland. So that just makes me sad to see. So I just wanted to say that, but the Lions are going to handle business. They're going to get a big convincing win on Monday Night Football. They're still a very good team in the NFC, and Jared Goff and the boys are going to have a bounce back game.
Yeah, real quick, I've got the Lions in this one. I don't even know if Jimmy G is going to play. I think they said that Hoyer may start again, but more on that to come later this week. Even if Jimmy G was playing, I got the Lions. Lions are they're looking at last week and they're kicking themselves for it, but they're going to take everything out on the Raiders. So I'm going to say Lions 28-10. Go ahead, JJ.
So, excuse me. There's nothing different. There's only one difference between Jerry Jones and Mark Davis. Jerry Jones knows at least a little bit of football. A little bit of football to the point where he can either put the right people in place to pick the right players, or he may score on some players. I think the Raiders are in a very toxic environment. They quit on the team. If you look, and I just saw this in a Ravens post today, they are killing Marcus Peters. They are saying his effort is lackadaisical. He just does not care, and that they are calling for him to be leaving. All of this lets me know is that this team is giving up, and they're going to just do whatever they want to do, and it does not expect anything. And they're going to probably start to clean. Devontae is going to probably ask for a trade. Josh Jacobs probably going to be moved or so because this team has talent, but there's no leader in this place. And that spoke to, and you could see it when Devontae made that comment that he's tired of losing and they want to win. You shouldn't have to do that with your entire team that's supposed to be as talented as this one that would be proclaimed to be the next best team in the AFC. I do think that the Lions are going to dog them because I remember what Dan Campbell has said. He believes that after getting your butt whooped, I want to see how we respond. And I think they're going to respond well because of Dan Campbell. And I got them winning. Props.
Sun God.
I have to get back to you on that one because
Sun God.
Sun God, he should be. Then again, I just sit here and talked about how Marcus Peters has been lazy and lackadaisical. We can go Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams receiving yards because I think he's going to get a big bomb for like 40 or 50 yards. But Jared Goff's, touchdowns if they are a fast or fantasy score because I think Jared's going to have a great game. And Jahmyr Gibbs rushing the receiving yards. He got off against one of the best defenses. I don't see anything going to change against the Raiders. And I got the Lions winning this game by about 14 points.
Hey.
Okay, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for Week 7 picks. I want to say thank you to everybody that has been watching the pick show and the Gauntlet on Fridays. Upon the request of a lot of the viewers, people have requested that we do a uncut version of the show. We will be doing that once a month. We will be doing it this week for the first time. I don't know what the name we're gonna call it. Gauntlet Uncut or Unchained or something like that. So whatever you want to call it, that's gonna be what we're doing. That means some of the things that's usually off limits will not be. But we're still gonna talk about the NFL and all the good stuff. So yeah, make sure you guys tune in for that this week. And yeah, one last thing. Without you guys, this literally does not work.
Word up.
1,000%.
Oh, Tyler said he wants to come on the picks. So one of these weeks we got you, homie.
Why don't you come for the uncut if you want, Tyler?
Yeah,
maybe not this month, but next month if you want to come, let us know. Because Tyler has definitely been on the uncut version back in the early days, so we know that.
Again, y'all, there it is. Gauntlet Raw and Uncut this Friday.
Uncut version.
We're going back to how we did Gauntlet Rookie Year. So
I don't know how about y'all, but I don't know what y'all talking about with this. I'm an angel. There is no such thing as Raw and Uncut for me over here.
Okay, so yeah.
Oh, we over there.
Sounds good, everybody.
All right, guys.
All right, we will see you guys on Friday.
Yes. Thank you guys for coming over.